right, Sterile Processing Universe, it's Hank Balch. You're back with another expert series on the topic of water quality here at Beyond Clean. And I think you're getting to know this guy by now, but Jeff Paquet is back with us to continue this conversation. Jeff, we talked last month about that gap analysis in sterile processing water. I want to take that next step today in talking about what do you do on implementing this roadmap here. So maybe let's take a step back and just refresh because we're a couple of months in for everyone on this journey. So when we say implementation, there's some who's that are kind of assumed in this piece. So maybe let's start there and then we can talk about what this roadmap looks like. So who would be involved in doing the things that we're talking about today?
Right. Well, in one of the first sections of AMI, the standard, it talks about your multiple disciplinary team, and that can consist of people inside and outside the hospital. But in terms of implementing it, your facilities engineering folks are definitely involved with helping you implement it. Obviously, the sterile processing department is involved, and you would probably have other key players that might be downstream customers, like people from the surgical workflow, infection control, quality control, that type of thing that could be involved with your team. And it is the team's responsibility to oversee the implementation.
On this map question is kind of funny when I think about this. I remember the classic war movies, where they have this big map of the battlefield. You got all these generals standing around looking, and they're pointing, and they got the big sticks, and they're moving around the little things. And in some sense, that's part of this, right? They have to know the lay of the land, what's going on with water. But then obviously this implementation side of it is okay, you understand the lay of the land. Now we're going to begin doing something about it. So kind of walk us through what this roadmap of implementation would actually look like in the field in in that kind of execution phase, we'll call it.
Right. So in the previous episode, we talked about gap analysis, and by this time, you should have an understanding of where you are in relation to being compliant, both with your equipment and plumbing, and how you treat water in your department, your ability to monitor water with testing and that type of thing, and and then you should then obviously the future state is somewhere in the standard being compliant. And so during the gap analysis process, you're going to develop that plan for the roadmap for getting there. So while each facility is going to have a different starting point, if you have a newer facility, then obviously maybe your road won't be as far. And if you're dealing with a facility that is 10 or 15 years old that hasn't had much in the way of upgrades, then your road will be longer. And so, generally the first step is really in is beginning the process of one, implementing regular monitoring. If you haven't already done your qualification testing, which is kind of getting a more comprehensive understanding of your water, you would do that. But then you would move on to monitoring both the points of use and as well as the process characteristics of how the water is being produced by your water purification equipment. Um, and also begin implementing improvements. And those could be multi-year improvements in the department, but that would be your starting point.
I know. I think we talked about this a little bit a couple of episodes ago, but it's a good time to remind folks who probably don't need reminding. But turnover is fairly high in the healthcare space, and so having this plan that's not just inside someone's head that could quit in 2 weeks or get hired to another facility. But having something written down, if there's a roadmap that everyone has agreed on and everyone can follow and go through it, it really protects your department progress. And then it also obviously protects the future because everyone's already agreed on that end state that we need to go to. Maybe it's not an end state. Maybe that's not description, because this sounds more like an ongoing journey, that there is no end. We just stay on the road
Well,
and keep
right.
moving forward, right?
It's about, yeah, you're right about that. It's about, it's like a quality journey. You're always continuously improving. And so, and where you know you can't implement an improvement, then you have to manage the risk associated with that improvement until you can improve it. Or maybe you never improve it, but you manage the risk somehow. And that's kind of the way it should be looked at. So I really think that it's a plan that you do have to have written down, because you're going to want to provide evidence to your third party um, licensing agencies and your people who look at your quality system, like Joint Commission or CMS or whatever, and being able to prove that you have a plan.
Uh, well, Jeff, you mentioned quality journey. We're going to be talking a lot about quality. We've already been talking about quality, but we're going to talk even more about quality in next month's episode. So I want to put a little teaser out there for folks. If you've heard the acronyms, or I guess the abbreviations out there, IQ, OQ, PQ, we're going to dive into a little bit about what those things mean, but then also apply them to the context of this water quality program that we've been talking about in this series. But until we talk to you again next month, I want to encourage you, if you've got water questions, don't wait. That's why Jeff is here. So make sure to get connected with him through the Beyond Clean channels. You can find his page in the Beyond Clean website. You can track down and follow him directly through LinkedIn. And you can follow the water pages, the VERDA water pages there. There's tons of education coming out every single day through that channel. So if you're interested in these topics, you want to learn more, that's a great place to keep consuming content in between these expert series releases. But hang with us. Like I said, we ain't done yet. We got a couple more episodes in this year's series, and they'll be coming out again next month. So until we talk to you then, like we remind you each and every week here at Beyond Clean, keep fighting dirty.